We try to build our lives on our own terms. We rely entirely on our strength, our own experiences, and what we think is right. But eventually, we all hit a wall that we cannot climb by ourselves. For many people considering baptism, a specific anxiety takes over. They assume they must fix every bad habit and become a polished, perfect version of themselves before they are allowed to step into the water. This timeline illustrates the flaw in that logic. You don't wait until you feel smart enough to be a doctor. You enroll in medical school first. You grow into the role by doing the work. Your progression happens after that initial decision to enroll. Faith functions in the same way. Baptism provides the starting block for a new life, placing the ceremony at the beginning of the journey rather than the end. Waiting for personal perfection creates a trap where the transformation never starts. The ceremony serves as the prerequisite for that change, allowing a person to grow into their faith from the inside out. To understand why this acts as a starting line, we have to look closely at what the physical ceremony actually symbolizes. The act serves as two distinct metaphors. The first is a funeral. When our human strength fails, we take that old, self-centered way of thinking and we intentionally bury it under the water. The second metaphor is a wedding. Coming up out of the water marks the official kickoff of a new journey, where you commit to walking hand in hand with God. Two people cannot become married just by deciding it in their heads. They need a physical ceremony to enact that new reality. A life of faith requires the same formal beginning. But does anything actually change right away? If you go into the water and come back out, do you instantly turn into a flawless person? The Apostle Peter wrote that baptism saves you, not by removing dirt from the body, but as a pledge of a clear conscience toward God. Your human messiness doesn't vanish. Instead, your conscience and your entire direction shift. The ceremony marks a formal shift in your trajectory. You are no longer navigating by self-reliance, but by divine guidance. Today, there is a distinct divide in how this ceremony is performed. Some churches practice total immersion underwater, while others sprinkle water on the forehead. This diagram breaks down the original text. The Greek word is baptisma, which literally translates to plunge, submerge, or soak. English translators adopted the phonetic sound, turning baptisma into baptism, obscuring the original instruction to plunge. If the literal instruction is explicitly to submerge entirely, how did the tradition of sprinkling water begin? Early Christianity spread far outside Judea. Believers carried the message deep into harsh, arid environments along extensive desert trade routes. By around 120 AD, this created a logistical crisis. If a desert merchant or a sick person on their deathbed repented, there simply wasn't enough water available to submerge an adult human body. Sprinkling a tiny amount of water was invented purely as an emergency workaround. Yet, over the centuries, some churches adopted this exception as the normalized tradition, even in regions with abundant water. Practicing full immersion, chimri, preserves the imagery of the funeral. Without the burial under the water, the metaphor of leaving the old life behind lacks its physical anchor. Full immersion physically reenacts the process of dying to an old self and rising into a new one. This specific posture makes the spiritual truth of the funeral and the wedding a tangible reality. This brings us right back to the struggle of waiting until you are good enough. Human willpower alone remains insufficient to bring about true, lasting change. The Book of Romans puts it bluntly. Even when we have the desire to do good, we cannot carry it out on our own. Our sinful nature constantly blocks our progress. This is why the Bible talks about wearing Christ. It describes stepping out of the shadows and into an overwhelming, unearned grace. This grace provides the power to change, a power we lack on our own. The right time to get baptized is the moment you make a firm, clear decision on which direction you want your life to run. Stepping into the water places you in the starting blocks. From here, with God's power, the real race begins.